Yo, Inca, you want to come out here? Welcome back and welcome in to the Week 1 review and the Week 2 preview for the MDA. I am your Commissioner Incog, or Avery for short, whatever you prefer. And let's go over some matches from this week of action. Interspliced throughout this, I will put some of the gameplay from the matches in here. Obviously, these are showdown battles, so do not be alarmed if the quality doesn't look that great. Showdown isn't exactly like high-ass quality, of course. But regardless, let's talk about some games. First off, we had the No More Heroes versus the Malformed Mayhem, and the No More Heroes took a set victory of 2-1 with a +3 differential over the Malformed Mayhem. No More Heroes brought the Hippowdon, Grimmsnarl, Great Tusk, Pheasantipity, Mega Garchomp, and Fable. Meanwhile, the Malformed Mayhem brought Pelipper, Thundurus, Therian, I'm pretty sure, Iron Jugulus, Ogerpon Wellspring, Tentacruel, Politoed, and Salamence. Now listen, I could go on and on about how well this game went for one particular coach, or I can tell you how bad it went for another coach. But this was, I will say, this is a dedicated, really good game that I think everybody should watch. I am being serious here. I think that you watch this 3-game series, you really start to understand the inner machinations of, oh shit, things can go wrong really quickly. And I won't blame, obviously, Sandy for the misfortune that befalls him, but this could have gone a lot better for him, obviously. In that first game, though, it was really clear that Rain is really, really good, and that Salamence is really, really good. And Knack had to really piece together what to do in game 2 by making those switches and just figuring, you know what, let's just play it out and see how it goes. Sandy made the switch from Salamence to Iron Jugulus, and I'm just going to say it. Me and one of my good pals, we hate that Pokemon. We hate Iron Jugulus, and to see it 0-2 brings a smile and a tear to my eye. But regardless, Sandy still played really hard that game 2, and it could have gone either way, but that game 3 was brutal for Sandy towards the end, and I'm not going to lie to you, it definitely probably could have gone his way, but the game that we play is suffering incarnate, so I cannot say it should have gone his way because the game decided not today. But it happens, obviously. With that being said, congratulations to Knack Nasty on the victory, 2-1 +3, and they move up to 1-0, while Sandy moves, unfortunately, down to 0-1. The next matchup on your screen will be the Rage Fist Annihilate versus the Vegas Gholdengos. Rage Fist taking a 2-0 set victory with a +7 differential, bringing the Garchomp, Hisuian Goodra, Mega Latios, Iron Hand, Iron Thorns, and Vikavolt, while the Vegas Gholdengo bring the Orbeetle, Tapu Lele, Victini, Morpeko, Kingambit, and the Roaring Moon. I will say, just for the record, I was not expecting Iron Hands to even try and show up this game, and it popped out and showed. Now, I will say, I'll give a lot of credit to the Vegas Gholdengo. The Z Celebrate Victini felt like a set that could come basically every week, and it was really decent here, but advent of not doing enough to make Latios, getting paralyzed, and then therefore losing the game at that point because, you know, while Cog's luck is definitely kind of like my luck, it could go really good or really bad. The Mega Latios being able to roost and being able to keep itself healthy enough to where the Victini then gets paralyzed and dies afterwards to, I believe, Hisuian Goodra or something else. I don't actually particularly remember, but regardless, this could have gone either way, and I'm honestly very proud of Primer. This game definitely felt not as much in his favor, but he definitely made the best out of what he had, and I mean, honestly, the Iron Hands was definitely very surprising, and I gotta give props to Cog as well for bringing the Morpeko. Even if it didn't get the kills that it wanted to get, it still came this game and still did what it could with what it had. Congratulations to Primer on his victory, and I mean, honestly, man, I can't doubt mons that look bad in matchups no more, I guess. He moves up to 1-0 and +7, while Cog moves down to 0-1 and -7. The next matchup coming up is the Zigzagoon is Great versus the Kahului Comfeys, and the Kahului Comfeys take a 2-0 set victory with a +8 differential. The Zigzagoon is great, excuse me, brought the Galarian Slowking and Weezing, Toxapex, Glamora, Mega Venusaur, and Amoonguss. Meanwhile, Kahului brought the Meloetta, Ursaluna, Kamo, Iron Valiant, Terapagos, and Zoroark Hisuian. Fiverr built what I would describe to be one of the bulkiest teams to be grass poison in my lifetime, and it was on full display that without revenging a lot of the mons that were present, you end up in a situation where things can go from bad to worse very quickly. Obviously, Kahului didn't really need to set up or do too much. It was just fight what's in front of you, kill what's there, and it felt very... It felt like a beatdown of crazy proportions, if you ask me. But I still think that Fiverr gave it their best shot, but this was definitely just, you know, walk him down and hit him down. Like I said last week that Infernape was an interesting ban, and that was because totally of Meloetta and like Iron Valiant being able to not be like weak, but also it's a very strong Pokemon against this team while also being weak to primarily poison. But you know, it definitely showed this week that first off, Meloetta did its thing, but Hisui and Zoroark put in that work. I mean, that first battle definitely put Fiverr on that back end of like, damn, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? And I will say for sure, it could have gone either way, but once that game one ended, I said, unless you pull off like a really good substitution here, this game's over. And it was. So congratulations to Kahului on their victory over the Zigzagoon are great. They moved to 1-0 plus 8, while Zigzagoon moved down to 0-1 and minus 8. Last battle was the Orlando Solar Beartics versus the Crawford Crustles. Orlando brought the Celesteela, Araquanid, Bronzong, Iron Treads, it's not Iron, it's Heatran, Slitherwing, and Mega Scizor. And then Crawford brought the Macargo, Tyranitar, Rotom, Gengar, Mega Aerodactyl, and Dragapult. Now, while Orlando won 2-0, this could have easily gone either way, but I will also say, hi, Crawford, Pantros, not banning Mega Scizor was a mistake. That Mon ran just reckless abandon here. And after game one, Ian did switch in the Slitherwing instead of having Araquanid. It didn't really make much of a difference. When you have Heatran and goddamn Scizor, this goes easy for somebody. And while I do think that banning Archaludon was interesting, I definitely think it might have been the wrong ban. But obviously, there are things that could have gone better. First and foremost, Dragapult not having a better physical ghost move than Phantom Force. Hey guys, that conversation's back. Who loves it? Mega Aerodactyl, I'm pretty sure, missed a dual wing beat or some move, which definitely could have made the difference in this game. In general, I think that, you know, both of them, or at least to my knowledge, Pandros, you know, just has to get his rhythm back and he'll be right at it next week, more than likely, or maybe he won't. We'll see. This was definitely two games that, like I said, it could have gone either way, but it wasn't going to because there was a Mega Scizor on the playing field against a Rock and Dark team, or a Rock and Ghost team rather, and Mons that are not particularly resistant to Bullet Punch or just in general other moves that Scizor gets. So you get them low enough, you start hitting them. Congratulations to the Orlando Solar Beartics. They move up to 1-0 plus 5 since they won by that much, and Crawford moves down to 0-1 minus 5, which standings look a little bit like this. Kahului is on top at plus 8, while Rage Fist is at plus 7, Orlando's at plus 5, and No More Heroes at plus 3. And then in reverse, Malformed is in 5th at minus 3, Crawford is at minus 5, Vegas at minus 7, and Zigzagoon at minus 8. Understandably so. I'm pretty sure, I don't think I ever announced to the coaches what the playoff formatting will be. That's because I'm pretty sure it's going to be top 6, but if I'm being honest, it could be top 4. We'll see. I think I'll do it top 6 NFL style, where the first 2 seeds get buys, and then it's, you know, 3 versus probably 6, or actually probably 3 versus 5 and 4 versus 6, I'm being honest. And then the higher seed, the 1 seed would play the lower seed, and then everything else will work out like that. Or I'll do something different. I don't know yet. But I'm pretty sure it'll be 1 to 6 for playoffs. Regardless, it's week 1. You got your toes wet. Let's go and get right back at it and see if we can get some W's on the board. Moving on though, let's talk about this first matchup. We have No More Heroes and Knack Nasty fighting the Reaches Annihilate and Poke Primer. Teams are on screen. For those who need a refresher, No More Heroes have the Hippowdon, Great Tusk, Ursulina, Blood Moon, Gliscor, Enamorous, Incarnate, Grimmsnarl, Tapu Fini, Clefable, Pheasantipini, Mega Garchomp. Ragefist have the Garchomp, Hisuian Gudra, Kyurem, Raging Bolt, Rotom Wasp, Mega Latios, Vikavolt, Iron Thorns, Iron Hands, and Tapu Koko. Bans this week are Mega Garchomp and Kyurem on each respective side, so this will be an interesting one. Banning Kyurem was a really good decision by No More Heroes, and honestly, I think it was the only real ban that I could foresee. And not allowing Sand Force to go crazy with Mega Garchomp was definitely a good decision by Ragefist, and also it is the dragon on the team that could definitely be very scary for him. This is a very rough matchup for Pokeprimer. It is literally the two types that you probably do not want to be fighting. So, while I want to pick Knack Nasty, and they're both 1-0, I think that this could go either way. This is the definitive matchup where I think it could go to a Game 3, and it could be percentages. I think Hisuian Gudra has a good enough day. I think Iron Thorns, instead of going 0-2, will have a better day. I think you could also see Pheasantipini on the other side having a fantastic day. And Gliscor just being an absolute wall. This is going to be a very neck-and-neck battle in my opinion. If I had to pick one coach, I'm probably going No More Heroes. The advantage of being the better typings is always going to speak to me more. Or the advantage, not better typings, like it's just they would be better than the typings they're fighting. Obviously, you know, ground beats electric and fairy beats dragon. But I've seen, and I love saying it, Stranger Things. Maybe not the TV show, but in reality. So we'll see what happens here. But there's definitely going to be a Game 3 scenario for me. I can't imagine this going 2-0 either way, unless major mistakes happen on Primer's part where he makes a really bad decision or really bad switch. But we could see probably, you know, 3 dragons and 3 electrics, or mostly electrics. I don't know, but I think he'll have a very difficult time prepping this week. It's going to look like Tapu Koko is not banned, neither is Tapu Fini, so Terrain Wars, we could see him. Oh, I should mention here, since I'm talking about this, a rule was implemented that I think I should have just introduced to the coaches beforehand, but there's no consecutive week banning as of a few days ago when I first was talking to them about it, because I want all the Mons to play the season at the very least, or at least once. So having consecutive week bans would just defeat the purpose of someone banning something like, let's say in this instance, Great Tusk every week would be crazy, you know what I mean? So no consecutive week bans. There is another rule that I'm thinking of, but that one will be reserved maybe for next time. But like I said, No More Heroes 2-1. I think that could be the W, or at least my prediction this week. Next up, we have the Malformed Mayhem versus the Vegas Gholdengo. This one could go either fucking way too, but there's a few caveats. For those uninformed, Malformed has the Salamence, Thunderous Therian, and Tornadus Therian, Iron Jugulis, Pelipper, Mega Swampert, Empoleon, Ogerpon, Wellspring, Tentacruel, and Politoed, while Vegas has the Orbeetle, Victini, Iron Crown, Tapu Lele, and DD Male, Mega Gyarados, Crocodile, Morpeko, Meowscarada, and Roaring Moon. And you're probably saying to yourself, wait, where's the King Gambit? Vegas made a transaction and picked up Meowscarada, and one of the rules that I was definitely thinking about, but I want to kind of see where things go, and I will probably have a end of league survey concerning banning Pokemon that were just acquired in the same week, or in the next week, whatever you want to call it, man. I just think that it's a little crazy to ban the thing that definitely doesn't just beat the shit out of you, but that's nor here nor there. So Sandy opted to ban Meowscarada, and because Cog was unable to ban Mega Swampert for the, because Knack banned it, it's Empoleon. So I don't understand the Empoleon ban. I get that it resists Psychic, but I would probably ban one of the Weather Setters, more than likely Politoed, because at least if you put up rocks, Pelipper has to be Boots, or predictably you have to, just end Tentacruel's life, and Tentacruel might not even want to be here given the circumstances of it being a Psychic team, but regardless, I think that this is still in Sandy's favor, just given that certain mons were not banned. You get double Weather Setters again. You have Iron Jugulis, which I don't think is that big of a threat, but honestly it can be. Mega Swampert is unleashed. Ogerpon, despite having a great week last week, is unleashed yet again. So it really comes back to what Cog is thinking, and Cog can definitely think of some crazy shit. I've seen it before, and I will keep saying it. He is Cog Prime for a reason. But this could definitely be a week where we see Mega Gyarados show up and just be a resistance to certain things. And obviously after a Dragon Dance, it will be very disgusting and hard to deal with. I think we're definitely going to see, however, Sandy pull out this victory, probably 2-0. There's nothing really that stops Mega Swampert, if I'm being honest with you. Cog doesn't have a Prankster Pokemon, and without the Meowscarada doing really, since it's banned, you're kind of forced into a situation where you're running specific berries to try and prevent something from sweeping. Then you have to set up another weather, or you have to kill Mega Swampert. Now, a lot of these monsters do get grass moves, so it can happen. But like I said, I would have banned a weather setter if I were you, but maybe you know something I don't. But definitely Sandy 2-0 if I'm being honest. Moving on though, we have the Zigzagoon is great versus the Orlando Solar Beartics, and good Lord have mercy, this is a matchup of all time. Zigzagoon, if you're unaware, have the Galarian Slowking, Glamora, Galarian Weezing, still without a Pokemon Mystery Dungeons, little sprite thing there. Toxapex, Clodsire, Mega Venusaur, Amoonguss, Sinistra, Ogerpon, Hearthflame, and Hydrapple, while Orlando has the Celesteela, Bronzong, Archaladon, Iron Treads, Heatran, Slithering, Rabombi, Volcarona, Araquanid, and Mega Scizor. So, Fiverr decided to ban Celesteela, and that's a pretty good ban, if I'm being honest. Unless you're running the Glamora that's banned, and you have Corrosion, you can't Toxic it, and it can be very dangerous. Though I think the Leech Seed set would have been definitely awful here. It would have just ran probably a Totemize plus something else, so I definitely understand the ban. Glamora was banned on the other side by Orlando, so pretty decent stuff here. Ian clearly doesn't want up Hazard, or just Hazard's being spat at him, and Fiverr just doesn't want to lose a Celesteela. This is a matchup where things can quite literally, and I keep saying this, but this is another one where it can go either way. If Fiverr puts together the Ogerpon Hearthflame battle of all time, releasing the Mold Breaker motherfucker onto this land, this Pokemon goes so crazy this week if he positions it correctly. That being said, however, Fiverr has to worry about Rabombi and Volcarona just being a restless 2-demon combo with Quiver Dance, in addition to which you have to deal with Heatran being crazy and Mega Scizor. So again, when I said it could go either way, regardless, I still think it's an Orlando 2-0. I think it's a close 2-0, but man, this is a bad week to be Fiverr. I tell you what, boy. But it is what it is. Sometimes you get into a situation where you think, man, this will go great. And then you're like, oh shit, it didn't. And it's definitely one of those. There wasn't like a singular Pokemon that either of them should have banned instead. I feel like the bans are justified. And Ian couldn't ban Ogerpon Hearthflame for a second straight week, of course. So I get that. But also, I think that Fiverr could have definitely banned maybe Heatran, maybe Rabombi, but it really didn't matter at the end of the day. Lake is in 5. So, with that, the final battle of this week is going to be the Kahului Comfeys or the Crawford Crustles. So, once again, if you're uninformed, Kahului has the Sneasler, Zamazenta, Kamo, Infernape, Iron Valiant, Meloetta, Zora, Hisuian, Megalopony, Terapagos, and Ursaluna. While Crawford has the Macargo, Tyranitar, Crustle, Cradily, Rotom, Mega Aerodactyl, Frostlass, Dracopult, Annihilape, and Gengar. This is another battle that I think should be close. They both opted to ban their Megas and Mega Aerodactyl and Mega Lopunny, so those demons will be active next week. Forever has to fight them. But regardless, this can quite literally go either way. I think that normal and fighting is really fucked into Pantros, just given that he has the rock typing, but in conjunction you do have the ghost typing, and since they opted into not banning like Dragapult or Annihilape, we're gonna see some really creative sets out of Komori, I assume, this week. I definitely think that while I say this can go either way, is Pantros putting down, the best that he got? Are we gonna see some crazy shit this week? Am I gonna see Cradily out here with some crazy shit? Am I gonna see fucking Avalanche Destiny Bond Frostlass? Am I gonna see some really nasty shit? Or am I gonna see some Shell Smashers? I don't know. I'm picking Komori to win this match. I think it's a 2-1, and there's so much on this team that fucks Pantros' day up that Pantros wins this series, or takes a game. I would actually be like, that's more of an accomplishment to me than anything else, because this team is fucking nuts. You look at it, top to bottom. Sneasler, Zamazenta, Kamo, Iron Valiant, Meloetta, Zora, like, Ursaluna is the biggest threat, in my opinion, this game. And, you know, without one of your primary stabs and Ghost, you're kind of having to rely on non-stab, and that can be very divisive, I guess. And honestly, Komori just has to think 2 steps ahead, and we could see a Kamo sweep, we could see a Zamazenta sweep. It could be literally anything on this team outside of maybe it's Rapagos, I guess, because it's not as powerful as other mons. But honestly, I think that, well, this can go either way. I did just say Kahului wins. I think this is still 2-1. I still have to give my good boy Pantros his props. You know, he's won a league of mine. He's pretty fucking good at it too. And, you know, this might be the week he locks in, or it could be the week he locks out. We'll see. That's going to do it today, though, for the Week 1 review and Week 2 preview for the Mystery Dungeon Association. If you'd like to join the server, there is a link down below in the description. And you can also participate in Pick'ems. By joining the server, you can just ping me and just let me know you want to be a part of Pick'ems. If you're already in the server, you should probably let me know. By next week, I'll go over who has been doing Pick'ems and what our records are. Spoiler alert, they're not great, but it's a fun pastime. There's no real victory besides the friends you made along the way and the friends that you already have that are like, wow, you did an awesome job. Or you did a terrible job. We'll see. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this, leave a like, comment, subscribe. And like I said, join the server if you'd like to be a part of another season of this. And from me, good night and good luck.